Hello and welcome to another Live with Profactor Plan. I'm Carissa Langeveld and you and I are going to talk about open-ended activities. So in our promo, we said that we're going to talk about the importance of, but we're actually going to talk about the problem with open-ended activities. Before we get into what they are and why they're a problem and things like that, let's first see who's joining us. So if you're joining us live or whether you're watching the replay, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know who's enjoying these chats with us. So, but not to stretch it out too long, let's see what are open-ended activities. Before we actually talk about what they are, let's see if you should actually care. So if you're a project planner, you should care. If you're a project or a construction manager, you should care. And if you're a contracts or a commercial manager, you should absolutely care. And we're going to talk about why in just a second. First, let's see what are open-ended activities. So if you're a good project planner, you will know that every activity must have both a predecessor and a successor. They cannot have just the one, they must have both. But if you're a very good project planner, you'll know that that is not where it finishes or where it ends for open-ended activities. So an open-ended activity is an activity that is not linked or logically linked or has a relationship or connected, whichever project language you want to use. It is not linked both at the start and the finish of the activity. So you can have, for example, an activity with a start-to-start relationship with another activity. And then it will have both a predecessor and a successor, predecessor with whatever activity was before it and linked to it, and a start-to-start relationship with the next one, making the next one its successor. So it has both a predecessor and a successor. But it's only linked at the start. It's not linked at the finish of that activity. So that finish will just be dangling there. It will have indefinite float until the end of the project. And that is so unhealthy for a project. So we'll get into the details of why. Let's just jump into it. Why? Why is it a problem? So I have open-ended activities in my schedule. What is the problem? Well, if your activity is not logically linked to a next activity, it may be a driving factor to another activity, and it may push that activity out. It may push even your finish date out. So it will affect your timeline and you won't even know it. You'll never see it coming because it's not logically linked for your schedule to tell you, hey, hold on, there's a problem here. This activity is going to push out other activities. So you won't know, which means you're going to sit with delays and claims and all those things that you really don't like dealing with. But we've had someone say, okay, so it doesn't push anything. I know it doesn't push anything out. So why is it a problem? So there are a few scenarios. The one we were talking about is a payment milestone. So a payment milestone that's not linked to other activities, it's not going to affect your works, they say. But if your payment milestone slips, your cash flow is going to slip. And if your cash flow slips, your resources are going to slip. And if your resources slip, then your timeline is going to slip. So it's more complex than that. But okay, let's say in a perfect world, the timeline is not affected at all. It doesn't drive any activity. It's not going to have any effect. Why should I still care about an open-ended activity? So in the event of a claim, and this is where the contracts and commercial managers come in, your schedule is the first port of call. Your schedule is your evidence. And if there is any hole in your, if there are any holes in your schedule, then the forensic planner or the forensic delay expert will find it and will use it. So you need to know if there is any risk of losing your claim or not being able to prove your entitlement, because of your schedule. Because if there's a hole in your schedule, then they will just say it's not credible, it cannot be used as evidence, and that whole schedule will be tossed and you won't be able to use it. So that's why you should care, even if it doesn't affect your timeline, which it probably will. It may affect your compensation events after the fact. So that's why is it a problem? Should you care? So here's where we say who is it that should care? So project planners, why should you care? Well, you have to give your team, an accurate timeline to work with. And if your timelines aren't accurate, your team is not going to perform the way they're supposed to perform. You are the GPS. And if your GPS is giving wrong information, your project team is going to suffer at the end of the day. Your whole project will suffer. So project planners should absolutely care. You should have no open-ended activities, zero, zilch. Project managers and construction managers, why should you care about open-ended activities? It's not your job after all, it's the project planner's job. Well, if you have to trust your schedule, you want to know it's accurate. You want to know you can trust those timelines. Otherwise, why do you have a schedule? The schedule is there to help you know when you're going to be in trouble, how you can fix it, how you can stay on target. So if you can't use that, why is it there? You need to be able to not only use your project schedule, but to trust it. And therefore, you need to make sure there are no open-ended activities so that your timeline is not affected. And then commercial and claims managers, why should you care? Well, you're going to sit with that claim after things went wrong, which in this day and age, sadly, is inevitable. Not necessarily everything going wrong, but claims. Claims are no longer a possibility, they're a guarantee. And you're going to sit with those claims and have to prove your entitlement. So you need to know if there is any risk that your project schedule cannot be used in this claim. So you need to look out for those open-ended activities and make sure there are none in the schedule. So that's it for open-ended activities. If you have any more to add, please give us some comments, give us some love. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Next week, I'm very excited about next week's show because next week I'm going to bring in some of my team members, whoever is available, because obviously everyone's going away. It's holidays, it's family time. But we just want to reflect a little on the year and see what are the lessons learned and those real what the heck moments. So that's going to be so interesting and so much fun. So I hope you join us. If you have what the heck moments to share with us, please comment them or just send us, you can send me an email. Let me just put this up for you. You can send me an email, carissa@profactorplan.co.za, and we'd love to use them in the live and share them with others. So we can just have a little fun as well. It's not always so serious. We can have a little fun with the lighter things as well. And this has been a hectic year. I'm sure there are going to be plenty of what the heck moments, but also lessons learned. So we'd love to hear from you and we'd love to see you. Remember, Thursday, 8:30 Eastern time, I think it is, EST. We're in South Africa, so it's GMT +2. So 8:30 p.m. Thursday evening next week. We'd love to see you. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.